This tutorial will demonstrate the Digitize 3D line tool found on the MMC 3D Analysis Python add-in. The Python add-in was developed by Gannett Fleming for the MMC Production Team. This tool will create a 3D line by interpolating elevations from the selected surface in the drop-down list. The 3D line vertices will be automatically weeded based on the tolerances set under the Configure Settings dialog. I will leave them as default values to start. After adding a surface to the current map document, the surface layer drop-down list will automatically populate. Possible surfaces to use include last datasets, rasters, tins, terrains, and mosaic datasets. Upon adding a surface layer, the Digitize 3D line tool will activate. I will start with this last dataset that I just added. In order for this tool to work, the map data frame and surface layer must have a coordinate system defined. Additionally, the surface layer must have a coordinate system in vertical and horizontal units of US feet. To use this tool, I zoomed into my area of interest. The user cannot be in an ArcMap editing session. If you are, this tool should be inactive or grayed out. Click the button to digitize a line on the map within the extents of the surface. A temporary line feature is created and added to the map. The feature is saved to a Scratch database and will be removed from the map document and deleted from disk upon closing and saving that MXD. Based on the settings in the Configure Settings dialog, a separate window will open with the 3D line plotted. The plot includes the line before applying the weed tolerance set in the Configure Settings dialog and after. In this case, when I interpolated my line from the surface, there were 636 vertices. Based on the weeding tolerance that I had set up in my Configure Settings dialog, it was weeded down to 308 vertices, based on a tolerance of 0.05 feet. I can zoom in and look at the before and after. So the blue hatch marks are the original vertices that were along the line, and the red are the after the weeding was applied. This is the temporary 3D line layer that was added to my map. The user has the option to add the Digitize 3D line directly to an existing 3D line feature. Simply add the feature class to the map document, and select the layer in the table of contents before clicking on the Digitize 3D line tool. In this case, I have a 3D cross-section layer and I want to add the digitized lines to that layer so I can eventually add them to HECRAS. After the line is digitized, it is added to the selected 3D line layer in the table of contents. I want to digitize my 3D line based off of a raster instead of a last data set. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the raster in to my ArcMap document. So since I want my tools to be based off of the raster I just added, I'm going to switch my drop down to point to this PA_10-foot raster that I've just added in. If I digitize my 3D line at a greater extent than what my surface is, it'll actually clip the line to the surface extents. So we'll start on the outside. It's going to intersect the surface. The plot still shows up because I have it set in the Configure Settings dialog. And then it is clipped to my surface extents. In that case, I didn't have my existing layer selected, so it automatically created a temporary layer. I'm going to add a new line to this cross-section 3D layer that I have, so I make sure it's selected in my table of contents. I have the Digitize line tool activated, and I'll digitize my cross-section. So in this case, my cross-section was weeded from 352 vertices down to 213 based off of a tolerance of 0.05. And my cross-section was added to my cross-section _3D layer that I have in my ArcMap document.